Phew. That's all we can say there about that. It is the American Scouser TV post-match reaction to Crystal Palace against Liverpool. 1 goal for Crystal Palace, 2 goals for the mighty Reds. We have Cozzy right now, Gally to enter the room momentarily. But Cozzy, how's your heart right now? Because mine's in bits.
I don't know what to say, really. These lads just keep doing it every game, week in, week out, just keep pulling something out the fire. And it's a sign that we are a half-decent football team when we want to be. But it's just amazing, mate. It really is. It's such a big game, especially with Arsenal going to Villa, who've won 15 league games on the bounce at home. It's such a big result, mate. You know, it's been a tough week for Liverpool there, but you've got 3 wins out of 3 in the week. It's massive. It's massive.
Gally, it was a, let's say, an insult fest on Darwin Núñez in the Discord channel. But the changes that everybody was almost everybody was calling for came on, and it literally changed the game. But the first half was really the worst of what we see from Liverpool sometimes, wasn't it?
Yeah, I mean, we had concerns about Endo on the ball. They proved right. We questioned where Szoboszlai would be and what it would do to Mo. Kind of was nowhere. You know, I think at one point we talked about how the only time we talk about Gravenberch is when he turns the ball over or gives away a needless free kick in a tough spot. And the only way Palace looked like they were going to score early was on free kicks, and we just kept giving them more and more of them. So, you know, once again, I think we're really lucky that Alisson is fit and able to play. He makes a couple world-class plays there that I don't think Kelleher makes, just because of confidence and strength and just being in the right position. So good on the manager for playing him. Good on him for getting himself fit again and being ready, and not asking for another week off just because it is Palace and thinking, we can get by with one more. All these points are massive. And to Kazi's point, it's huge. You know, I listen every time Arsenal scores a late winner. I hear that's what champions are made of. And then I got to listen to frickin' Neville and these morons say maybe Liverpool are convincing themselves they're title contenders. They were the only ones with players other than City that have winners medals in this league. And for some reason they're talked about like they can't do it or they don't believe they can do it. These are great, massive results. Would like to see some good performances come with it, but I think that comes as you get fit. But in December, the Premier League's not about good performances. It's about 3 points.
Cozzy, this Liverpool team is not, in terms of style, a vintage Klopp Liverpool team, but in terms of mentality, it is almost the definition of the mentality monsters, isn't it?
Yeah, well, I think Salah said that after the game in his interview on the pitch after the game with BT Sport, or TNT now, I should say. And the lady asked, "Do you see any similarities with this team and the team who won the league?" And in terms of mentality, yes. Like, not probably in terms of the football, but in mentality, yes. Like, we're digging in. You know, listen, I don't want to go into all the negativity about the first 70, right? Because that's for the lads to do on Monday. The lads can break that down on Monday, right? I want the positivity again. As I thought the subs, the manager kind of got them wrong, but when he done the Jones and Elliott sub, changed everything. I want a special shout out about Joe Gomez. Unbelievable. At right back, fucking unbelievable. Didn't stop running up and down the line. Gave us an outlet every time, which we were sorely lacking. Was an outlet somewhere on the pitch that could just get us out of jail. Joe Gomez was absolutely fantastic. Jones, again, another assist. Excellent when he comes on. Elliott. What can be said about this kid? This kid this season has been probably Liverpool's best midfielder in terms of consistency. So Szoboszlai's had the higher ceiling this season, yes, so is McAllister. But in terms of being a consistent level, there's no argument with Harvey Elliott off the bench. What an option he is. What a goal again. He does the same against the Wolves away, and he scores a similar type of goal as well with a little jar and run. Brilliant. Just, I'm so pleased with the lads. And again, the lads can get into the negative parts for 70 minutes with absolutely dog shit. We have no outlet all over the field. We can't run. We look jaded. We look leggy. We look like we couldn't do much. It just looked poor. But then again, the lads just pull it out the fire. Gakpo again comes off the bench and changes things. It's just brilliant, mate. I'm so pleased. Now let's go and put the pressure on the other two. They've got to go to Luton there. Luton have to give Liverpool nightmares at their ground. They give Arsenal nightmares this week. Okay, it might be a step too far for City. City could just go there and blow them 3-4-0, and that's fine as well. But then the lads have got to go to a really tough spot there. You forget that Liverpool have been to a lot of tough ground, you know, on this run. Like, we've been to Brighton, we've been to Chelsea, you know, we've done the hard away games. Do you know what I mean? And now they're starting to get their hard away games in. And Liverpool were looking around going, fuck, we've had 3 games there in a week against teams that were probably going to finish in the bottom 10. But we still picked up 9 points. So it's excellent, man. I'm so pleased. So happy.
I'm talking about jaded and leggy. Let's bring Tamuchin in. That's too many treats the dog's getting.
Anytime I come off as a guest, Jesus Christ.
I feel like that's what happens when you... It's what happens when you show up after it starts. It's like showing up late to a party. You never know what they said about you before you got there or what they're going to say when you walk in the room.
Man, that was painful, though. I called that one. That's for sure. The painful part of it. But, hey, got to take the result and run with it. Top of the league. Can't beat that for another at least 3-4 hours here.
Here's a question I'll throw out to all 3 of you because we're all veterans, so to speak. I accept it. I'm the young, fresh-faced kid. But
It's actually only 22. That's what it's like growing up in Ireland.
Yeah, it's true. This is the years of Guinness since I was 5. But here's what I was thinking over the last few weeks, and I didn't want to think it, but it just seemed so accurate. When we look at Liverpool this season, and just in terms of the mentality and the ability to get over the line despite not playing the best soccer, it almost reminds me a little bit of Man United in the 2000s when they weren't playing their best teams, but they still managed to get like performances out of Percy. They still managed to get Marouane Fellaini getting a medal. Without running the ball off the field. It just seemed to be that aura that Man United had under Ferguson of you just can't beat us. We can play like crap, but we're still winning this game. Is there a sense of that with this Liverpool team? No matter what happens, we're just going to win the game. You can do what you want, but we're going to get that winning goal.
I think it is, and I think it comes from the fact that he's played so many different players at different key moments because of the substituting. And we used to criticize it and talk a lot about it. And I think it just comes down to he didn't trust those players like he trusts these players to know they can come in and make an impact. And we can talk more about Elliott later. But, I think the way that our subs are making impacts on games, it gives us that belief. And I think every player thinks they can come on and make an impact. And you saw it last week with Endo. You saw it with Trent when he moves into new positions. And I think you saw it with Jones and Elliott today. They were so good.
Yeah. See, I don't think we're there mentality-wise yet. But I think you're able to change games. You're able to bring fresh legs that are quality legs off the bench. And that always gives you a chance. I think then as a player, you feel like the game can keep changing and maybe perhaps like you do not give up early. So there is that. And I think as ugly and as painful as these results are, that does over time build that mentality. Like you beat Sheffield and then you beat, like Crystal Palace, like games like this, the Fulham game. Those are games. I mean, we had the same thing in the title run too. I mean, that mentality thing doesn't just go overnight, but this is how, like, these are good building blocks for that, saying, even if you play like crap as of the 60th minute, there's no hope in sight. You still know, one, you can bring guys off the bench that can change the game and make a huge impact. And B, you've been there, done that before, so you can do it again. And then I think the mentality will continue to build.
Well, let me throw this just before Cosy comes in there. Let me throw this. If this was a Brendan Rodgers managed team with the exact same circumstances, gone 1-0, do they come back to win 2-1?
That's a low bar.
Yeah, I mean, especially in his last season.
He's a very small manager, to be fair.
I mean, listen, the mentality thing is that, listen, the lads have been here before. A lot of these lads, by the way, people think it's a brand new team. 7 of them have probably won the league. 8 of them have probably still won the league. Like, yes, we have new midfielders and stuff like that, but, Jones won the league. I think Harvey Elliott won the league and stuff like that. So this is do you know what I mean? These lads have been there as well in these moments where we always remember the Villa away game when it all changed, when we scored 2 late on against Villa. And, so these, as I agree with Tim there, you do build into the mentality thing, but it's nice for the manager to have those options again. You said the point there about the United side, and I've got a weird thing about Fergie, right, and how we used to change things, and basically how we built 4 teams. It's just interesting, but his most successful period was York, Cole, Sheringham, and Solskjaer. That was his most successful period because he had options off the bench. They won the European Cup by making 2 subs, and just made them win the European Cup. So the manager has the same thing. So it's the deepest squad the manager's ever had. So And when and I go back into the main point here for like what Jamie said before about it is a pen. It's a pen. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Whether we
Yeah,
like
I agree.
that's Liverpool, it's a pen.
Yep.
But also it's a red. So whether the referee took 20 minutes to get to the right decision, stay with the right decisions. Elliott's on the break, it's a second yellow. It's a cynical tackle, it's a second yellow all day. It's a red. The first one's not a pen. That's the right decision in the end. It's not a pen. And
he had a good day. Ref had a good day. VAR had a good day. It took a little long, but they did a good job.
Correct, mate. And we're not talking about because the right decisions came out of this. Palace can probably say, you know what, feel a little hard done by on the red. You can half go, okay, you might get a free one because his first booking's he kicks the ball and Ronnie Van Dijk for the first booking and gets a booking. So you could argue that wasn't a bad challenge. So you could feel a little touch hard done by, but by the rule of the game. So I think it was all of the major decisions in the game were right as well. I don't think anything.
Yeah, I think if he doesn't have a yellow, that will be a yellow, right? Stopping a counter.
Yeah.
So I agree that it's basically like, I don't know, harsh because it ends up being a red. But at the end of the day, you say yellow plus yellow equals red. I mean, the first yellow you can argue because there were a lot of times where they could have given that yellow. Like there's a point where Van Dijk is taking a throw and the guy is like tipping it off like it's basketball. He doesn't get a yellow, right? So that you can argue that that's inconsistent, but I feel like he's stopping a counter, so that's a yellow, and since he already had it, and I think I didn't even argue. I think he knew that he maybe forgot he had a yellow, really, because he didn't need to make that tackle because it's Elliott. It's not the fastest guy. No. You can catch up to him, but
agreed.
Is it possible that he just gave him the red because it's Jordan Ayew and he has a really annoying face?
Potentially,
he doesn't like his brother.
Potentially, it's a stretch in his referee report when he fills it out after this game. Like it's a stretch to convince that one, isn't it? But you know what I mean. But and I get the frustration of the fans as well, and I get the frustration in Darwin at the moment. And Liverpool have come poor for 70 minutes, but I don't care. I'm not interested. Tim, Garley, and Bickler can all break that down on Monday, and as they should, by the way, because we should get into the performances, get the poor for 70. But right now, this is not about that. This is about Liverpool going on, kicking on. And yes, by the way, we've been hard done by a bit this season. If Palace fans want to feel hard done by, they can. But I still think they come to the right decision anyway to send it off.
Gally, we were talking about in the when he came on Gomez on the right side, but he did a very, very good job at right back. But I thought in the first half, Tsimikas was actually one of our better players, but just didn't have enough in front of him and around him to help him. Am I way off base there, or was just the whole team bad enough that anybody who just did the basics was standing out?
Well, I do think part of it was that everyone was so bad. Your left back could be your best player when he doesn't get across into the box the entire half. I think the wind really wreaked havoc on Tsimikas in the first half.
Sorry, I had Taco Bell for dinner last night. I'm sorry about that.
Hey, come on now.
Unbelievable. You're unreal. So I do think Tsimikas was good in the first half. I also think that you should get an extra award if you can look good playing alongside Gravenberch as the player supporting you, because he was really, really poor in the first half. So I don't think that helped Tsimikas, where his 1-2s were with Gravenberch and Diaz. And those were two players who were really kind of out to lunch. Diaz was shockingly poor. If it wasn't for Nunez, he would have got my least man of the match. But lucky for him, Nunez was out there to remind all of us what a really bad performance looks like. And this is me talking and saying this, so that's how bad it was.
Timuchin, in terms of the positive impact, how much of a confidence booster would it be, do you think, for Jones, Gomez, and Elliott to come off that pitch thinking that those three essentially changed the game?
Yeah, I mean, here's the thing, right? I don't know. I'm kind of split on this. You can give credits for the substitutions and the right substitutions, or you can also say you're just fixing your initial lineup mistakes. Because I think that was, I would say 50-50 on this one for sure. Yep. And I think the biggest thing you get is when you get Jones and Elliott there. And I'm not saying that should be the lineup that should have started. Gakpo should have definitely started. I think we kind of know that. I know Kazi agrees. But the thing is, those guys know where to be, what to do, how to play, and how we play. And I think that's the biggest plus. You talk about Gravenberch, you talk about Szoboszlai. I think they're better players as a player, like the ceiling, as Kazi was saying earlier. But I think it's that midfield in the beginning, nobody knew where to be, nobody knew what to do. Everybody was trying to do something on their own. It's like it's like 3 chefs in the kitchen, but everybody's doing their own thing. So you don't get shit at the end when you combine them. Whereas when the other guys are there, they know how to work together. They know the ball has to move and it has to move fast. I think that's what you get. Those guys, I think, just probably prove to themselves, we know how to play in this system. Exactly. But I think out of all those 3, Gomez, I thought was just like freaking excellent. Had a few Gomez moments here and there, but he was just excellent. And you can kind of tell the difference of having it forward who moves around and moves around smart, because Gakpo's movement, and that's what you need when you play against the defense that's sitting down, not a guy that's going to cause chaos and be off all the time. I think that was a wrong that was made right afterwards, as opposed to a smart substitution. I think you're just fixing your mistake on that one.
Saidu says that Gomez started playing poorly until IU was sent off. Is that was he watching a different stream than us?
I disagree with that, Saidu, mate. Everyone's entitled to their opinion, of course. But I disagree with that. I think Gomez was excellent. I thought he'd give Liverpool an outlet and give Liverpool width, which is so desperately needed. But going off to what Tim just said there, I agree. I think the manager got the team selection wrong. I think he should have done Nunes against Fulham or something like that. I can't even remember. But I always thought Gakpo should play this game. I always thought Gakpo should start. I knew it was going to be a low block. It's Roy Hodgson. You know what you're getting. This is fucking standard on the paint. It is what it is kind of thing. But as much as we can say that, again, they offered nothing. They get a pen. They offered not much. Okay, Alisson makes 2 saves. I think the last one, by the way, in the last minute, is offside.
I think he's off too, yeah.
I think Anderson's offside, so that's by the by. So because, for example, if you're a centre half, you go, well, our job's done because everyone held the line. So that's what you would. You come off and go, that's sound because that didn't count really. So so he makes one world-class save, you could argue. But again, it goes back to the point. Jones and this is the problem with that midfield. They're all brand new players.
Yeah.
They haven't, at least with Jones and Elliott, he knows what he gets and he can trust them because they've been here for years. I tell you that I've told you for 3 years what to do. You move the ball quickly, you get in between the pockets and stuff like that. Where these lads are still kind of new, we've got to give them more time. I know they've shown us a big ceiling, so we expect a certain much. But Szoboszlai is still a new player. You know what I mean? Gravenberch is, Endo, of course, has played about 6 games. So as much as we can slate them when they play bad, I'm not arguing that. But there's also a bit of patience that needs to happen. That's where Jones and Elliott coming off the bench helps the manager massively. Because also, he might see something in the game and he can grab Elliott and Jones and go, see him there. He can't run today. We can at least finish on those last legs and you can get in and around him and, do your thing as well. So that's where the manager does earn his money. But I agree with you 100%. I think he got the team completely wrong.
Gally, look, let's expand the picture a little bit. Arsenal playing Villa today. If Villa do the form that they have been doing over the past few weeks, if not months, and especially as it's their former manager, he'd probably want to get one over on them. Does that put the pressure on City now and put us firmly in the driving seat if results go away, or is it too soon for that?
I mean, I still think it's too soon, but it's a good. I'm not voluntarily giving up the position, and I'm not saying I wish we were 5 points swing and we were trailing City by a match, or a point or something like that. I mean, City's playing Luton. I expect them to put 5 on the board, and Haaland will get his revenge. He'll score 4 or 5 against a bad team like he does. He'll pound his chest. He'll feel good about himself. And, he's a great goal scorer. That's what they do, right? They feast off bad teams. We used to watch Luis Suarez do it to Norwich. They're still probably shaking in their boots. I think what it comes down to is Arsenal has proven this year that they have a mental toughness and the ability to come back and win games late. I don't think any signing in the Premier League has helped the side more than Declan Rice has Arsenal. I think he just kind of calmed them down, gives them a little leadership.
Sorry, his official name is Declan Rice. Sorry.
Yeah, sorry. Yeah. I forgot the Irish pronunciation. No, I think that Arsenal will go out today and give that Villa defense a little bit of trouble because Arsenal does something that no other team in the league does. They really do play the ball like one-touch football as well as anyone. I think they're confident going forward, but they can be had at the back. And I think with Watkins and then Diaby coming off the bench, even Bailey in form, Villa's going to score goals today. This could be one of the more fun matches this afternoon to watch. So I'm looking forward to it. I do think it puts a lot of pressure on Arsenal to win this match because they don't want to give up their spot in the standings to us before they have to come to Anfield. That's a tough spot to be in. So if we were talking about fun games, Bournemouth are beating Man United 1-0 at Old Trafford.
So we're doing well so
Big
far
Dom.
today. Was
Big Dom Solanke with the goal. Ooh,
there you go.
I'll tell you, what a day that could be.
It's all happening for us now
But
today.
to be honest, that's what I'm afraid of with Villa, by the way. I knew United was going to have an issue, and we even called it in the panel show today after like they thought they were suddenly title contenders after beating Chelsea last week. And I worry about Villa maybe being a tad overconfident or celebrating too much beating City. That's probably my only fear going into the Arsenal game.
I think that's a fair point, to be honest. But the one thing I'd say about the Villa game, they battered City, didn't they?
Yeah.
Like, I think it was the first time, wasn't it, that City never had a shot on target after the 10th minute in the game. Like, that's insane to me. That doesn't seem real. That sounds like City from the 90s. So it's like, so fair play to Villa, you know what I mean? And if Villa, listen, this is the other part. If Villa want to be serious about being in the top 4 race and the top 5 race these days for this season, then you've got to win your own games. We know that. You have to win your home. You have to do your play. And by the way, this is a team in Arsenal, in my opinion, don't feel like they create a lot of chances in games. I feel like they score the chances that they create. I can't really remember when they go out and create 20 chances and have 14 shots. They don't really do much like that. So, yeah, I really fancy Villa today. I really do fancy them. And even if they don't, it's about time that we start seeing our fucking competitors playing some difficult games. Because it feels like Liverpool have at the start of all starts and we're still top of the league. Do you know what I mean? We play a couple of bums next week in United, and then let's roll on to the Arsenal game, innit? Let's whack them as well.
So let me throw this out here. I think Cosy may have heard this one before, like, because it gets quoted on the BBC, on Match of the Day, especially on the BBC constantly. But whoever's usually top on Christmas Day is usually around about first or second at the end of the season.
Don't. Liverpool.
Let me finish the question. We are booking trends so far this season as Liverpool. Would we prefer to be top or second or third by a point or goal difference going into the new year?
I'll finish this off. 4 times in the history of the Premier League, the team who's been top of Christmas haven't won the league. Liverpool have done that 3 times. I don't want to hear that stat anymore.
So let's hope that Arsenal are getting 2 or 3 goals ahead of us in goal difference on Christmas Day. That would be a nice Christmas present.
Arsenal going to be lucky to be within 12 points of Liverpool at the end of January. That's what Arsenal for.
Now here's something we talked about on Thursday, because we talked about a bit more about Arsenal, but Pep Guardiola is saying you're going to definitely win the league. He was all before the Villa game. Did he speak way too soon? And is that something that Klopp can certainly point to our lads to say, we're more of a humble team. That's probably why we're a loved team more than City, is because Klopp is a very humble manager. But did Pep speak way too quickly, and is that going to come back to bite him in the ass?
I mean, I don't know. I hate these questions. Like, he's damned if he do, damned if he don't. If he says they don't going to win it, people say, oh, he's just buttering it up, or he knows there's charges coming and he's just being careful and coy, or he's going to then say, we've had, I need to buy players. Like, Pep, this is what Pep does, right? Like, Pep kind of works his messages through the media. I feel like Pep's type of manager who only talks about football, like tactical football to his players, like a robot. Like, just really, it's all about like maniacal coaching, but then sends his message through his like assistant coaches and his lieutenants. And some of those lieutenants are the journos who write the articles that these lads read. And I think he knows that they're going to get De Bruyne back. They're going to buy a player or 2 in January. It won't be crazy. They'll strengthen that weak squad. And I think he knows they're going to go on a run of 15 unbeaten at some point and get back in it. Will they win the league? I don't know, because I think they're going to want to try to repeat in Europe if they can. But they're definitely going to be in it come April, May. They're not going to be 7 points adrift. That's for sure.
The one thing, go on to.
I think like partially it's like our bias too. If Klopp did the same thing after having draws or whatever, we're like, oh, he's keeping the boys like morale up and stuff like that is what we would say. When Pep says it comes out different. But I think that team is struggling, so he's gonna say something. And like I said, I don't know what the question was that made him say that. I mean, he's not gonna be like, who knows? We'll see what happens. I mean, no manager's gonna say that. They're like, we're playing to win the title, is what he's gonna say. I think that's just a manager that's trying to make sure the team doesn't lose belief after having. I mean, they haven't had this many poor results in a row in a while. So that's a shock to the system, to a team like that. I mean, we talk about earlier about, Jones and Elliott and stuff being there. knowing how to turn games around and stuff. These guys all go by habits and morale and, stuff like that. So when a team who never loses more than like once in a row, or every once in a blue loses points, they lose it regularly for a while. That's a huge shock to the system that can really rock it. I think that's just the manager trying to kind of like steady the ship, really. But
I think go on, Mark. I think the thing is, though, mate, with the Pep thing, I agree with him. I think he's just trying to give the players a kick up the arse just to wake them up a bit. But I think there's also, you're fucking brave to say when you haven't won them 4.
Yeah.
You're fucking brave to say when you conceded 11 goals in 5 games. It's, you know what I mean? It's not like, you're saying it on the back of a couple of 0-0s or a 1-0 here and there, and you haven't looked convincing. You are leaking goals for the first time I can properly remember, where they're really leaking goals, which is fantastic for us. And it's fantastic for other teams, by the way, because we've seen many sides play against them and just roll over. And we've sat there in title races with them thinking it's a place to go on a fucking Monday night. Then you just roll up there and beat them 3-0. And you're like, oh, but when Liverpool went there, you wanted to have a game of football with us, and Liverpool scrape by and win 2-1. But soon as City roll up there. But now I think clubs have actually found out a way to play against them. Rodri's key. I think that's a massive one for everyone. Rodri is key to them. It's everything to them. I think he's been suspended now for 4 games, and they've lost all 4 this season. So he is key, but I also think clubs have worked out a way. They will work out ways to play against you. They will work it out. So, again, Luton, I expect it. But let's just see what happens.
We complain about the early morning kickoffs, but when it works out for us like this, is a nice, relaxing weekend for us to be able to sit back as Liverpool fans and watch all of the other clubs have to match what we've done today. For once, is it going to be a way to be able to put our feet up and go, okay, lads, now you guys do your thing and see what happens?
No, it's not relaxing. Because now I'm going to be fucking heading every ball that Ollie Watkins does on the pitch. I'm going to put on the couch like this. On the couch. So no.
You'll probably have a better success rate as well, Cozzy.
Leave Ollie out of this. I'm a big Ollie guy. But I mean, Ollie Watkins off the Solskjaer. I bear in mind. But mate, yes, job's done. It's great for the manager. Of course, the manager can sit down, relax, and he can do his little things, you know what I mean? We basically have a free week because the Union game doesn't mean much. Yeah. So it's great for the manager in that sense. And of course, he can sit back now and probably watch United on the way home and catch the second half of that kind of stuff. And there was little due diligence, but for a fan, fuck no. Liverpool at top of the league, and we need someone to drop some points from somewhere. And I'd really like to stay top of the league. So
let's kind of end on a positive note. We'll start with Gary. We'll go around. 200th goal has been scored by Salah. That particular albatross is now removed from around his neck. Was there maybe an element of a tiny bit of pressure on him to try and get that goal that may not exist now in the subsequent games that are coming up?
I mean, sure, there's some, because people talk about it, and every game that goes by, you don't get it, you get asked another question about it, and you want it to get it. You could tell he was excited to get it, but then remembered, oh shit, we have to score another one of these. I got to stop celebrating. He was ready to go to the crowd, and then he just turned around quick and was like, okay, let's go back. We'll celebrate later. Good on him. Well taken goal. Again, huge, massive deflection. Didn't see that in live play, and then was like, ooh, on the replay. But good for Mo. It's got to feel good. And on to the next milestone. Listen, the guy likes a record, which is why he plays so much and why the manager rewards him with extra minutes. He loves a goal, and I love a goal scorer who loves a goal. So, good on him. He came here, and he was a guy who was a winger who occasionally chipped in goals, and he became, arguably one of the most prolific goal scorers at one of the greatest clubs in the history of the sport, the greatest club in the history of the sport. So that's a pretty good feat on a guy who once was considered an absolute bust for a Premier League player. You leave Chelsea and you go to Fiorentina, and then you get loaned out twice before you get another shot. That's a big deal, I think. And it probably doesn't get talked about enough because he's Egyptian and he's not English, and people just don't love him the same way as they do other great players in Premier League history.
Yeah, I think it's not pressure, but like Gally says, it's probably just getting rid of the nuisance of answering the questions. I mean, it wasn't like, is it going to happen? It's just more like when. So I don't think it was pressure on him, but I'm sure he's happy to not be asked and answer the same question over and over again. So just getting rid of a nuisance more than anything else, I think.
He puts pressure on himself. I think he puts pressure on himself in every game to score a goal.
Every game, yeah.
I think if Liverpool don't win that game, I think he looks at the chance in the first half and try and cuts it back to him. And he should take a touch really and put it on his left foot, but he kind of snatches on his right. And I think he'd be all the way home thinking about it if Liverpool don't win that game, because I think he puts that much pressure on himself to take his chances. But me, what a player. Genuinely just give him a new contract now and let's just all go from there.
Okay, final question. My missus heard me shout out what a goal in that emphatic manner when Harvey Elliott scored. So the question is, how many glazed donuts will she buy me at the store for lunch?
It's got to be at least...
Probably 0.
Wait, you having glazed donuts for lunch? I mean, that's what threw me off.
I don't eat during the week because I work 10-hour days, 14-hour days without a lunch break. So I save it all up.
So
I'll tell you what.
I'll tell you what. Have sticky fingers all over the place because you got like a huge dozen glazed donuts sitting next to you at all times.
I do feel like it's like Homer Simpson sitting at the power plant when Mark is sitting next to the camera.
It's literally like that.
I also want to add that while we're on the Homer Simpson at the power plant, that Jesus is literally working you like George Burns would. Like, what's going on here? Like, Mr. Burns didn't work people as hard as Jesus is working people these days. What the hell? Bringing Jesus to the people is becoming more and more difficult.
He's getting his word out there, isn't he? It's all right now. He's getting his word out there, no problem at all. Mac is sitting there with a 12-pack of donuts. Of all the lunches you can have, just a big 12-pack of Krispy Kremes.
Just pass the word and keep eating the Krispy Kreme.
We're just lucky it wasn't hot cross buns.
American Scouts are sponsored by Krispy Kreme, man. Jesus Christ.
So, before we go, it just remains to say to make sure that you're liking and subscribing and following us on the Instagram and the Twitters and the Facebooks and the Bebos and the MySpaces and the Discord channel where we get all of the controversy and all of the fantastic comments. Make sure you're watching us on the mornings and ordering from Reckless Coffee.
Vickler knows.
Vickler knows.
He knows the importance of the donut.
He knows.
Knows a good donut, yeah.
Oh boy, let's get out of here.
We will be back next week with the Monday podcast, the Monday, Wednesday, Friday morning coffees, the Thursday podcast, the Fantasy Football League, the Premier League show. We do so much. It's almost as much as the donuts I should be eating this afternoon. I think it could be 6. So we will say peace out. Enjoy the weekend. Let's watch Aston Villa destroy Arsenal.
Top of the league. Liverpool,
Top of the league. And that means let's have the porn music.